Could your tattoo be used as a legal document? What's going on, everybody? I'm Attorney Wynton, and today I will be reacting to a new tattoo that Anderson .Paak, the uber talented musician, recently got on his arm, and whether or not his skin could actually be used as his will. Let's get into it.
Ow! No, that freaking hurts! There's blood on me!
So a few months ago, Anderson .Paak got this new tattoo on his arm, and it puts on full display what we think is him showing us how he feels about musicians and their music being released after they die. And from the looks of it, he's not here for it.
No! God, please, no! No!
So this is it. This is the tattoo, and I have to say, I really like the lettering. It's pretty simple. It's straightforward. I'm a tattoo enthusiast. I cannot wait to get like my arms absolutely blasted, like everything. I just can't wait to get tattoos. But here's Anderson .Paak's. This is what it says. It says, "When I'm gone, please don't release any posthumous albums or songs with my name attached. Those were just demos and never intended to be heard by the public." I mean, if I was an artist, if I had a bunch of music like in the can and I died, I guess I would want people to hear what I made, but you know, I'm just an entertainment attorney. I'm not like an artist. Could you imagine? We waited so long to get that Silk Sonic album. If unfortunately for some godforsaken reason he had passed away while they were still recording that album, and we didn't get the Silk Sonic album with him and Bruno Mars that we had waited so long to get. Tragic, absolutely tragic for that music not to be out. I mean, if you go back in history, some of the best albums that an artist released was released posthumously. I'm thinking Amy Winehouse. We're talking about Notorious B.I.G. Tupac had an album released posthumously. The Doors, their Nirvana New York Unplugged MTV set is one of the greatest live sets ever. If you go watch it if you haven't seen it. And I don't know, maybe it's coincidence that he released this picture around the same time that like a bunch of other dead artists were about to have music released. Like Prince, he recorded his Welcome to America album back in 2010. It was put on a shelf for like 11 years. Then he died in 2016. And then the Prince estate released that album in July of this year, 2021. We've gotten a lot of good music from artists who have died this year, including like Juice WRLD, Mac Miller, Pop Smoke. But when I saw this tattoo, it got me thinking, what would it take to make this tattoo a legitimate legal document? Like, what would it take to make a tattoo a legal will? So in Louisiana, there are two types of wills. First is the notarial will, and second is the holographic will. So we're not going to talk about a notarial will because I went through it and I don't think that would be feasible, because with a notarial will, it requires you to have a notary present, two witnesses. You would have to sign it. The notary would have to sign it. The two witnesses would have to sign it. So you'd have a lot of different hands tattooing your arm. But I think we could go the route of an holographic will. So with an holographic will, the entire will has to be handwritten, dated, and signed by the person whose will it is. So for Anderson .Paak to have an enforceable holographic will in the state of Louisiana, he would have to tattoo himself with his own hand, his entire will. He would have to then sign it and date it. The only nuance here is that the date of the document, your new tattoo, would have to be reasonably ascertainable, and that's because different people write their dates different ways. Before you run off and try to use your tattoo as your will, food for thought. You might run into some issues if you decide you want to be cremated. Your document's going to be all burnt up. It's going to be gone, and you can't use a picture of a will as your will. You got to actually have the document. So that's kind of a big issue. And if you're gonna get buried, you're gonna run into a similar issue. If you get buried, the document on your arm is obviously gonna get buried. And you can't use a picture of the document as the will, right? If it were me, I'd just go the old school route and write it down somewhere. Just do it the old fashioned way. But that's it for today's video. Thanks, guys.